Hello everybody! Today we're going to be watching a series of videos about how to best perform operations with integers. And what I mean by operations is just adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So, if you don't already have out a piece of paper and a pencil, pause this video and grab those two things because you are going to need that for the rest of this video. If you already have those things, go ahead and copy down the topic and objective that I have posted here and draw your T-table. Remember that we're going to be using this avid note-taking strategy, so you're going to draw a T-table like so, basically on all of our notes that we take this semester. In the left column, we're going to have our main ideas. And in this bigger right column, we're going to put our notes. Okay? So, now that we have all of that, let's get going. Operations with integers. The first thing that we're going to talk about before we get going is the number line. Now, a number line is just a line that goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever in both directions. We have 0, and then as we move away from 0 to the right, our numbers are increasingly bigger and they're positive. And as we move to the left, our numbers get increasingly smaller, but they're negative. So, now that we have that taken care of, let's go ahead and just define what an integer even is. An integer is a positive or negative whole number. Or 0. So examples of integers would be things like -5, -3, 1, 7, 102, or 0. And lots of other things as well. Okay, so now that we've seen the number line and we know what integers are, let's look at our first operation. Probably the one that we first learned about back in elementary school, and that would be addition. And we're going to look at addition if our integers have the same sign. In other words, they're either both positive or they're both negative. So, there's really only two things you have to worry about. One, you're going to keep the sign. And then the second thing is you just add the numbers. Okay, so let's look at a few examples of this. Say we have 4 and we're adding it to 6. Both of our numbers are positive, so our answer has to be positive. And then you just add the numbers. So 4 plus 6 is 10. Now let's look at -2, and we're going to add that to negative, let's say, 6. Well, since both of our numbers are negative, we see our negative signs right here. They're both negative. So our answer is also going to be negative. But then you just add 2 and 6. And 2 plus 6 is 8. So then our answer there is -8. Okay, so now let's look at addition still. But this time our integers have different signs. Again, we still have a process that we can follow. Step 1 is to keep the sign of the bigger number. And then step 2 is to subtract the numbers. And that will give us our answer. So let's look at an example of that. So say we have -4 plus 6. So notice here that we have a negative number and a positive number. 4 is negative, whereas 6 is positive. Well, if we just compare 4 to 6, 6 is bigger and it's positive. So we know our answer has to be positive. And then we just subtract the numbers. So you just do 6 minus 4, which is 2. So your answer here is positive 2. Okay, now let's look at negative 17 plus 5. Well, if we compare negative 17 and 5, we see that they have different signs. So we know that we have to follow the process above. And now we just compare our numbers, 17 and 5. 17 is bigger than 5, and 17 is negative. So we know our answer has to be negative. And then we just do 17 minus 5, which is 12. So we know our answer is going to be a negative 12. Okay, so that ends all of our information on adding integers. But go ahead and we're going to continue this note set in another video that goes over subtraction.